All right, so there you go, guys. That is all the news. Here is our rotating fourth segment. I don't know what that was. But if you don't know, guys, our fourth segment happens on Thursday every week, and it's a rotating segment. 1 week, it could be shout out to Netflix, which we might have to change that title because Netflix might not be around.
Shout out to streaming.
Shout out to that thing that streams. Next is We Read, as we talk about a book that we've chosen, which will be today's discussion. The other is, we have two more. We have Time for Comics, which our Time for Comics this month, which will be next week, right? No. Time for Comics is the second one. Mm-hmm. Sorry. Our Animation Superstation is Flashpoint Paradox. Our Time for Comics is Lock and Key Volume 1. And our Netflix, shout out to Netflix, is The Stand-Ups. Now, We Read this month was Thrawn by Timothy Zahn.
Friend of the podcast.
Yes.
Timothy Zahn.
We've interviewed him
twice.
Yeah, I interviewed him, then Robbie interviewed him once. So.
And the next one, our thrice interview, will be me and Zach just double teaming him.
Talking about books.
Yeah, books. Thing.
Yeah, talking about books. So, if you haven't read it, you missed out. Okay, we're going to talk about it. You can still go get it. You can go get it on Audible and all of that. The link is down in the description if you want to try it out on that. But without further ado,
Thrawn.
I get Amy's going to the store.
Okay.
Just wanted you to know that.
Thanks.
Thrawn. What did you think?
Like I told you, I have about an hour and 15, hour and 20 minutes left in the book, so I have not gotten to the end of it. But I got enough to where I could talk about it. It's a beautiful book. I love how he has the inner monologue going. Like when he's talking, he's like, slight hesitation. Vanto notices as well. And it's like just going through what he's always 2 to 3 steps ahead of everybody.
Yeah.
And for someone to have so much coming against him, for him to be able to rise through the ranks as quickly as he did, is just a testament to how great of a mind Thrawn is. Mm-hmm. And to get his backstory.
Yep.
It's just something that we've always wanted, always had to search for, and now Zahn has given it to us.
Again.
Yeah.
Again.
It's beautiful. Great book.
Now, you're getting pretty much 3 characters. You have Thrawn, you have
Price, Ensign Vanto, Eli,
and then Price. Those are your 3 main characters throughout all of this. And Zahn does such a wonderful job of tying all of those strings together. And I love at the beginning of almost every chapter you have Thrawn talking about it. Talking about pretty much what's going to happen in the chapter, but in doing it in such a aloof way that is very interesting. The story, I love that he still takes Outbound Flight story in a way and brings it in where Thrawn has been exiled from the Chiss and he gets found and everything, and he pretty much runs them ragged to get, all of this kind of stuff. I love that that's still part of it.
Yeah.
Like, I absolutely love that that's still part of it. And we not only see like his like brain, but we also see how he molds people around him. Like
what he did with Eli, he's, kind of groomed him to become a commander himself.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that ties into the end of the book.
I can't tell you. I'm not going to spoil it here. Now, what I also love is that he brings in characters from Heir to the Empire. Did you catch any of these?
Was it the ISB agent?
Nope, not the ISB agent. Hishishi.
Oh, the cat.
Yeah.
The cat lady.
Because she worked with the smuggler.
Yeah.
God, what is his name? I can't remember his name. But she worked with the smuggler, and when they said Hishishi, and I was like, whoa, it'd be the smuggler in Heir to the Empire. So I love that. I love those little things like that.
The tie-ins.
And having the Emperor in like the very beginning of this, and how Thrawn didn't really back down from him. And that was really cool that he just kind of stood his ground on all of that.
Yeah.
And kind of, used him. I read over it. I started reading over it again. I love that even when he was being attacked at the Imperial Academy, that instead of, wasting resources, wasting, people that could benefit
The Empire.
He instead would rather instill Talon Card. Yeah, that's it. Talon Card. So Hashishi worked with Talon Card. Instead of wasting resources, he instead suggested them become fighter pilots because he saw that kind of tenacity and that working together, but also singularly with their attack. That was so cool to me.
Brilliant.
Now, I had to get it a little bit deeper here. Night Swan. How did you think about him as being the foil to Thrawn?
It is like you have the protagonist of the book, and Night Swan is definitely the antagonist, which technically
it's the opposite way because Night Swan is more like the rebels that we see later on that's fighting against the Empire, and Thrawn, of course, is the Empire.
So it is crazy how it plays on your feels because you're
rooting for Thrawn.
You
really are.
You're like Thrawn, but then you realize that he's looking out for the good of the people and everything. And I think in a way at the beginning, Thrawn was too. Like Thrawn is not your average. Obviously, not your average admiral or anything like that. I feel like he's a little bit more, not compassionate, but not as ruthless, and he would rather.
He doesn't sacrifice men to make a point. He uses his resources in a very smart way, and if he can save lives, he will. Civilian or the enemy. He's not somebody that just wants to see death. Yeah. Unlike we saw with the Battle of Baton. Was it Baton? Where they were on the island?
No, it's not.
It's not. Baton's later on. I can't remember. There's a battle, if you can think of it.
Yeah.
There's a battle where one admiral pretty much he gets destroyed because he's going in as he wants to look grand. He wants to look, as in control as he possibly can.
So he has turbo lasers firing, and it's revealing all their positions, and then you get the ion cannons that just.
Yeah, and it was ingenious. Whoever was running the show on the ground with the shields and everything, it kept moving and all of that, and the way once they started leaving. I can't remember if it was Night Swan.
It was Night Swan.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you saw all of these things, but Thrawn didn't do it that way because he came back and fought at that same fought the same battle and did it a different way and overtook them and took over the position.
Because he had his corvettes in front of him blocking the ship as the Star Destroyer was coming in, and then just.
Yeah, and it's just that amazing genius because you're not getting somebody that's force sensitive. You're not getting that kind of story here, and I think that's the one thing that Thrawn, in the Heir to the Empire series, was so different than Luke Skywalker or the Darth Vader or the Emperor Palpatine in the past, where they relied on the Force to do all of their work. He relies on his brain and how he uses art to figure out, what kind of species it is and what their strengths and weaknesses are, what their tendencies are. I just love that about Thrawn.
My favorite thing was as he was going to take over a ship that was the guy who was starting the rebellion with the Jeffy. And they were like, take care of the prisoners, but take even more care of the art. As they brought it in. And I was like, that's so cool.
Yeah, and with the Jeffy, the whole raid and everything, that it wasn't over, it was over drugs. It wasn't over anything really worth anything. And the TIE fighter pilot, being one of the guys that he sent off to Star Strike or Sky Strike, whatever it was. To get trained and everything. And I just love that. But the relationship between Thrawn and Vanto, I think it's almost reminiscent of his relationship with Captain.
It's in Heir to the Empire.
Yeah, look it up. I can't remember. My brain's not working today. It's the captain over the Chimera. He's in a lot of the books. I can't remember what his name is. But anyway, it's kind of that relationship where Thrawn is tutelage, like they're his tutelage, and they're learning from his just vast knowledge and way of going around it. And that's bringing them up from, just understanding a base level of everything to looking at it more on his side of things.
Like you saw with Eli Vanto at the beginning, he would be explaining this, and Vanto has no idea what's going on. But as the book goes on, you steadily see Vanto understanding more and more, and then it gets to a point when the current captain of the Chimera is saying that me and you are the only people who truly understand, when it's explained to them, fully understand. And she was like, "Do you think anybody else would understand? If Thrawn explained this to him?" And he was like, "Yeah." He's like, "No, they wouldn't understand. He's come so far in learning under Thrawn."
Yeah, I'm trying to find that as well. Jesus.
Is it Captain Pelion?
Pelion,
Yeah.
yes. Oh my god, I can't believe I forgot his name. Captain Pelion, is an older version of Vanto. And I'm glad that he didn't go verbatim of that, story. They're much younger in this version and everything. But I really loved the relationship because at first Vanto did not want to be anywhere with him.
He even thought about letting those 3 people kill Thrawn.
Yeah, and that he would get to go back to, being a ship...
I know what
God, I am bad about this today.
The people who...
It's like cargo, like tracking manifests and all of that. He wanted to go back to that. He didn't want to be his, liaison or anything like that, his interpreter, but he learned over the years, just being around Thrawn, to be more perceptive. And I
think once they were able to... Thrawn, it was figured out why Vanto was not progressing in rank, and once they fixed that, and he got promoted to lieutenant commander, because he was like, "Oh, I'm about to be a lieutenant," and they added commander, and he was just like, "Whoa!"
Yeah, it was a big surprise for him.
And I think that's what kind of turned the table for him on how he felt towards Thrawn.
Mm-hmm. Now, Emily Price, we didn't really talk about much of her, so let's touch on her side of things. It's very interesting to see her go from, kind of over a mining company to losing it all because of the greed of the Empire and other people.
Was it
Price
Riken?
mining.
Was it Riken? No.
Riken helped her get out of it. It was the senator that stole everything. And her going to Coruscant, she wanted to get off Lothal and be part of Coruscant. That was always a dream of hers. She thought it never would happen, and she finally does, but she's doing pretty much grunt work. And the Moff Disra, taking, it's interesting to see, the hierarchy of the Imperial, Navy and all of this kind of stuff, and just Imperial in general, take advantage of the smaller people, and that she feels very underpowered, and she's even threatened at one point in time, and she loses it all, and then she kind of has to start scratching her way back up.
When she goes to that one guy, and he's like, this is not working to your optimal what it could be. I'll work my first week during this festival week. I'll work it for free, and if it doesn't get better, then, if it gets better, you hire me. If not, I'll go. And then she starts working there, and then she gets an offer from her friend, the spy guy.
Yeah.
And then she starts realizing, why is there nobody here? Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, there's several red flags going on here.
And then Tarkin.
I love Tarkin in the book.
Yeah.
I love Tarkin in the book. And have you read Tarkin? Yeah,
I have not read Tarkin.
Okay, so it even takes some things from Tarkin, which I loved it, that there was some kind of crossover with that there's continuity being built with the new EU and everything. And I just loved how Tarkin was used. Even with Thrawn and Price, all of that was being used throughout the book. And Emily Price, is it Emily Price?
Mm-mm.
It's not Emily Price. Why do I keep calling her Emily Price? Price was we're doing a really bad job of remembering things today. Price was kind of one of those parts of the books that I didn't look forward to at the beginning because it was taking away from Thrawn. But at the end, you saw what Zahn was doing, and that was just kind of that craftsmanship that he's known for, is, you know, bringing it. Arinda. There we go. Jesus Christ, man. Sorry about that.
Yep.
But I just loved how everything was crafted to build into each other, and you're going to love the ending. Like, I'm not going to spoil the ending for anybody that is watching. You're going to love the ending, so just wait for that.
Like I said, I'm excited. I'll text you. I'm going to, because I'm listening to it on the way home, and by the time I go to work and leave work tomorrow, I should have it done.
Mm-hmm. So it is absolutely wonderful. Any last words on Thrawn?
If you haven't read the book, this is a definite, it's a no-brainer. If you've watched or read or listened to Heir of the Empire, you already have a sliver of what Thrawn is. Or if you've watched Star Wars Rebels, you know who Thrawn is. Mm-hmm. This gives you such a in-depth look at Thrawn and how his brain works. And that was the coolest part to me, like I said multiple times, is that inner monologue that he has, where he's talking about the cheek muscle slowly tightens, or, you know, there's a slight pause and hesitation, and like just tearing like people apart, like just by watching them and understanding how they work. I mean, it's an amazing book. Definitely need to read it.
Yep, definitely so. And guys, you can check it out for free. Just use the link down in the comments, in the description down below, for a free trial to audible.com. And again, that is one of my favorite books that I've read. Definitely in the EU. It is wonderful. So check it out. Let us know what you thought about the book in the comments below, because I know some of y'all read it. So we want to have that discussion with you in the comments.
Now, time to pick a new book.
Okay, what you got?
I got two that I was thinking about. Mm-hmm. We could carry on with Star Wars and go with Aftermath by Chuck Wendig. Mm-hmm. Super great book. It literally takes place right after the last movie, and you're seeing what's going on with the Empire after that. Great book. Or we can delve into Mass Effect with Mass Effect Revelation.
I want to steer away from Mass Effect, to be honest, just because of that wonderful game.
Okay. Well, how about this? Either Aftermath, or we can start Aragon.
Well, I was going to go with something that I thought was pretty interesting, and that's The Trials of Apollo Book 1 by Rick Riordan.
Allie?
So what's the second book?
How about that? Well, you pick Star Wars Aftermath or Trials of Apollo.
I don't know. I've heard that the Trials of Apollo.
That's not what we were looking for, Allie.
No. I'm saying like that's like I've heard that series is really good. I personally haven't read it.
We just did a Star Wars.
You guys like just did a Star Wars.
Okay, then
so
we can do Trials of Apollo.
You're gonna like it. It's Rick Riordan. You know you're gonna like it.
Oh, yeah, he's a fantastic writer.
Yeah, and if you have Rick Riordan, whatever you say his freaking last name. Here's kind of the basis. Right. Apollo has screwed up, and he's ticked off Zeus once again, and he gets sent to Earth as a mortal. Mm-hmm. And there's a huge plot that's going on to overthrow the gods of Olympus once again, but it is fantastic, one of my favorites of the series, so definitely check that out. So that is the We Read for next month. That is the We Read for September.
So go ahead, check it out.
Yeah, Allie's going to put up, I think, a picture of the cover, so that'll help you, so you know what it looks like. Next week is Animation Superstation.
Yeah,
choo choo.
Yes, so you need to be watching Flashpoint Paradox before next week when we start talking about it.
It's great. It's a movie. It's a comic. So you can read either one.
It's going to be the Flash movie, actually.
Yeah.
The live action is going to be taken out of that. So definitely check that out. So Flashpoint Paradox is next week. So go ahead. If you haven't already done it, this is the time to do it. There's the cover of what it looks like, DC animated. You can, I think it's on, it's not on Netflix. I doubt it. I think it used to be, but it's not anymore.
I can tell you real quick.
So that's that, and then the following week is shout out to Netflix, and that's going to be the stand-ups, which is on Netflix, and then the following week that is Time for Comics, and that's going to be Lock and Key Volume 1. So definitely check those out, and love to discuss it down in the comments below. Anything? Nope.
No, but it must have been just taken off because I saw it on there about a month or two ago.
Yeah. So there you go, guys. There is episode 219 in the book. If you watched it live, thank you. You can get that over at patreon.com/nerdcave. Each and every week, we're going to be streaming this live for all of you. And then one week, every month, we'll do it for everybody. And on Tuesday, the new Nerd Cave Plays will be up, and we're playing Star Wars, so definitely check that out. And all of that can be gotten over at patreon.com/nerdcave. Oh, I'm not trying to phone this one in, guys. It's just one of those days.
It has been.
It has been. But thanks to all the people that support us over on Patreon, just like our Patreon seducer/producer, Caleb Palmer. I don't know what I'm doing anymore.
Blame it on your infection.
I think that's what I think it is. Like, I'm hearing myself like way more than I normally do.
And it's hard. It's hard to do.
It really throws you off. Earlier this year, I had really bad ear infections in both ears, and it throws you off.
Well, we've even had fun playing with headphones as we've heard ourselves talking, and like you'll like over enunciate, and it's weird.
Yep. So thanks for all the people that support us over at patreon.com. We're going to be doing more and more over there, so please check that out. If you haven't already, you can see all the awesome tiers that we have on there. You can even get on the podcast for one of our tiers. So there you go. You can get fan mail. We will send you fan mail from us. So, what's better than that?
True that.
Yeah. So there you go, guys. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave us a little comment down below. Hit that like button, hit the notification bell. And then next week, we're going to be back with another episode of the Nerd Cave Podcast. This has been Zach.
Robbie. And Allie.
I'm sorry.
Have a week. If you enjoyed that, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you want gaming content, you can go over to Nerd Cave Gaming right there. If you want to support us, you can check out Patreon right there. If you want more videos, check them out right here. Go ahead, pick one of them. I wonder which one you're going to do. If you're going to be cool, you'd pick any of them. All 4 of them. You'd be awesome.